So you can't see me right now, but I'm Sarah Pepin. I'm the program assistant for PLAN. And this training is brought to you guys from the generous support of the Texas State Library and Archives Commission and IMLS as well. And we're very thankful that they've given us this grant to bring you all trainings. We're hoping to continue to be able to do this. So at the end, there will be a post survey, and please fill that out. It helps our numbers look good and really also gives us a ton of great feedback on kind of what you want and like how effective these trainings have been. So thank you for joining us. And I will be hopping out around 10:15. But Megan, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, I am Megan Mills, and I came about this little presentation today. I was a little interested on how Sarah found me because I'm a retired school librarian. I worked at our local high school for 25 years, and then I was an elementary librarian before that and a third grade teacher before that. So about, I guess, the summer before COVID, I decided to have a little part-time job at our public library, and they hired me for the evening shift. And I fell in love with public library work as well. I think if you're a librarian, whether you're public, academic, school, whatever, you just have that just inbred sense of love of a library. So when I retired, the public library reached out to me and said, hey, we have a dilemma here. Our friends of Sims Library we're either getting rid of it or we have to come up with an idea for it. And I said, well, you really shouldn't get rid of it. I think you really you've had it established, so I think you need to continue with it. The members of the Friends group had aged out, and by aging out, I mean most of them had passed away. And the last remaining member, I think, was in a nursing home. So we knew it would be a little challenge. So that was in June of 2021. And so we didn't even have an election until that November or December for officers. But what we did is I just kind of reached out to my retired educator friends, and then the public library advertised as well that they were seeking to revamp this Friends group, and we rolled with it from there. So we presented at TLA last April, myself, my friend who was also a retired school librarian, and two of our friends from the public library. And I feel like our presentation was pretty well received because we kind of talked from both ends, like what they were looking for and then what we did to get this Friends group going. So I don't really know if you guys have a Friends group established yet at your library, or if that's something that you're looking toward doing. But I will tell you, the past 2 years, we have raised, in my opinion, I mean, it's a small scale, but we've raised some money. We've been able to support the library financially for their summer carnival, different things that they have requested. We've also hosted programs for our library that we kind of set up and we took the reins on. So I hope that when we finish today, that if you have questions or if you want to know a little bit more about what we did or where to get started, I hope this answers some of your questions today. So I have a presentation. I revamped a little bit the one that we did in April. So to add a few of the things that we did recently.
By the way,
Megan?
Yeah.
Someone raised their hand. Cynthia?
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Oh, do you have questions, or are you saying, yeah, you have a Friends group?
Okay. Maybe they are. I asked the group if they had a Friends group. And I know we had 3 people who raised their hands and that already have a Friends group, I'm going to assume.
Well, and something, I see there's people on here that are directors of the public library. So I get invited to the board, the library board monthly meeting as well. And I'm not a voting member, but I get to go hear what's going on with the public library board. I think it's created a really great partnership doing that. I like inviting myself to be at the meetings because we share a lot of ideas. We talk. I get to know what's going on at the library. And then I get to think about, well, how could friends come in and support the library in whatever project they're trying to do? So I guess that's written into our bylaws, that into the Sims board library bylaws, that the president of the Friends group is attending the meeting. So I think it's been very helpful. I've gotten to know them all very well, and it's been a good thing. All right, here we go. We're going to do this presentation. Let's see. Okay, can y'all see it? Dana, can you see it?
Yes, it looks good.
Okay, great. All right. And it's kind of making me sad because we just lost one of our friends' characters here, but anyway. All right. So this is our public library. This is Sims Library. It was built in 1905. So we have I'm from Waxahachie, Texas. We are a growing community. We are quickly approaching 50,000 citizens. And so we love our big old library, and it's changed just a little bit. We have added a little wing on upstairs, so it is a little larger than it was originally. But that's the library that we represent. Okay, so step one is rebuilding the Friends group. So as I told y'all before, when we started out, the membership to the board, the Friends board, was either non-existent or we had the one member in the nursing home. The people that had been paying their donation every year was probably still a fairly healthy group, but there was no communication going on. So what did we do? And the first thing we did is we gathered as much information as we could from the library. So we were given a membership list, people that had paid membership dues to be part of Friends of Sims Library. And the list was from 2018. So going through the list, you know, a lot of people had died, moved, whatever. But at least we had a starting point. We had a launch point. The next thing that was kind of difficult was, what was the bank account information? So the person who had been the treasurer of our Friends group had passed away. So we had to get the death certificate, go to the bank, get all of that information changed over. So that took a little bit of doing. Usernames and passwords to social media, if they existed. We didn't really have, prior to us coming in to revamp the Friends group, we didn't really have social media out there. So we started all that from scratch. However, I wish my public library people were on here from Sims Library, but you know, we have to set up our social media through the public library so that we follow all the guidelines that they have set up. So we do have to work with them on the social media aspect. The bylaws, we had bylaws. We have gone through and updated our bylaws. They hadn't been updated in a while, so we did take care of that. And then we had never had a memorandum of understanding, which is just the partnership between the library and Friends and what our roles are going to be. So that we just took care of that a year ago. Establish meeting days and times. So presently we meet the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. And we are flexible on that time if we need to be, but that seems to work best for the library and for the Friends group. So how did we get membership? Well, I just reached out to my retired educator friends, school librarian friends, and that's kind of how we started our base. Since then, the more media we have out there and the more events we host, we have actually recruited more people that aren't necessarily in the library or teaching world, just members of the community that are looking for something to be involved in. I found American Library Association, their website on Friends is a great starting point. It's pretty lengthy, but it was just kind of gave us some ideas on, maybe where we wanted to go with our group. And if you're starting from scratch, I would definitely visit that site, and it will give you some great pointers on how to start your Friends group. Let Google be your friend. So what we did is, once we established our officer team, we created shared Google folders. And so all of the officers had access to those folders. And within those folders, we keep our information. We keep our bylaws. We keep our membership list. Any passwords that we need to share, we keep there as well. We created a Google form for the library staff to be able to request funds. That was just easier than, them shooting me a text or sending somebody an email, or the director coming to me and saying, hey, we need $500. That way we have a paper trail on any type of funding request that comes through. We don't have a Google Calendar. We try to work with the public library on their calendar, and they have it established like 3 months out, I think. And so when we meet monthly, we try to say, all right, what's coming up? What do y'all need help with? Can we have this room on this date for this presentation we might want to do? So we do have a pretty good cooperation with the library. So once we got our bank account information set up, the most important thing right away, we got a debit card. And on the debit card is the treasurer. She has access, and I have access as the president. And that way, it just made it so much easier to be able to order things off Amazon or whatever else we might need. So that was a first big step. We also set up a PayPal account so that on the library page, people can actually pay their membership through PayPal, and it goes to the Friends group. So originally, everything was going to the public library. Any money that was collected through a PayPal account online went to the public library. Any mail outs, anything like that, was going to the public library. We realized very quickly that wasn't working out well. We were getting membership envelopes late. We were having to remind the library that 3 people paid dues and they needed to pay us back. It was getting kind of awkward. And so we felt it was going to be best to have our own accounts. So we actually got our own P.O. box. So now everything comes to us to a P.O. box. We have this PayPal account as well.
Megan?
Yeah.
Talking about that, and then talking about something you brought up earlier, there was a question about, is a memorandum of understanding necessary? My answer is it's not required, but right. I feel like that from my perspective, I was a public library director, that it was extremely helpful in clarifying roles. And then this whole thing with the money. And so what are your thoughts on that memorandum of understanding?
I didn't even know you needed one. Okay. So I'm coming from school world. I'm just this person they know that they conned into taking over this role, which I love everything about it. But the director actually came to me and she said, hey, this is what most public libraries have. What do you think? And she brought me a couple of samples she had printed from other libraries. So honestly, we hadn't had one in however many years a Friends group was in existence in our community. I read through them and I thought she's probably right. We do need, now that we're active, now that we're doing a lot, we probably do need a clarification on, what our purpose is and what we're separate from the library. And I think people think, oh, the Friends group is just, they're just the library. Well, we're not really. We're our own entity that supports the library. So I think it clarified that a little bit more. And now, I'm glad that we have it in place. And honestly, we took that memorandum from another public library and just kind of reworked it to where it sounded right for our library. So is it necessary? No. Has it been helpful? I think it's been very helpful. And it's something you can always go back to say, all right, this is what our responsibilities are, and this is, what we're going to do to help you. And
yes,
I think on that other slide, there's actually a copy of our memorandum. I think I took a picture of it. It's in that slide. So they'll have access to this, and maybe they can zoom in a little closer on it to see like actually what it says.
Okay. So one other question, that memorandum of understanding, I'm going to assume, was approved by the library board and the Friends board?
Yes. So we had a copy of it at our Friends meeting, and we approved it. And then I took it to the board. It gets confusing, the Friends board and the public library board. So I took it to the public library board, and then they read through it. And so it's signed by the director, the president of the board, and then myself.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you.
Yes. So, and the PO box has been wonderful because everything then comes to us. We have we're separate. We have our own identity, I guess. Whereas before, money's always complicated. And I know this from being a school librarian. You want to make sure the money's going to the place that it needs to go to. And so establishing the PO box, now we're responsible for any money coming in. And I'm talking about membership dues. And so before, when it was going to the public library, and public librarians are on here, they know this. Here comes the mail, you open it. And then that goes to this person. And then the next person gets it. And then 4 people later, it gets to the Friends group. Well, we were getting checks, 2 and 3 months late that, that doesn't look like good practice with your members. So I'm pleased that we finally established that. It's not cheap to have a PO box, really, but we have the money now to pay for that. So anyway, that was, I think, big in setting up getting our Friends group really working for us. I mean, other things we've paid for, plastic sign holders, logo stickers. I'll show those at the end. Just some marketing things that we came up with. We're pretty frugal. I mean, we're just coming from the school world. We know that we have to be pretty frugal. So for us to spend money on anything, sometimes it's it's hard for us to let go of that money, but we want to definitely be supporting the library. Okay, so our rebrand. This is our logo. We had, once again, a school librarian. She was young, and she had left public ed because she wanted to homeschool her kids. So we had her as kind of our PR marketing person, and she designed this little logo. So this is the logo we use on everything. We use it on our t-shirts. We use it on stickers. We use it on letterhead. We use it if we are hosting an author. We try to put this in the bottom of the poster that we create, anything. So we're trying to get our brand out there. This is our brand. And then she came up with kind of what do we do? Who are we? So the vision was, we're basically the PTO of the public library, bring together a group of citizens who actively support the library through volunteer work, sponsoring programming, purchasing equipment, hosting events, and offering cultural programming. Then we decided we needed to create some social media. So we do have a fairly active Facebook page, Instagram, not so much. And then we also have a web page. I can click on these links. I'm going to click out on this to see what happens. So this is our Friends page that's linked to the public library page. And they keep this up. The public library takes care of this little page right here. And then our Facebook page, I'm going to see if this goes. Yes, we maintain our Facebook page. That's our book club, our shirts. And I don't know if that Instagram, let's see what it looks like. Oh, yeah. So a little dilemma that we had is the girl that was making our marketing and our branding that I mentioned earlier, she left. She ended up moving to Oklahoma. So when somebody leaves, you have to fill that spot. And we did fill the spot with someone who is not quite as tech savvy. She's working hard at trying to do it, but it's not her comfort zone doing social media. So not to be ageist or anything here, but I feel like we have a young woman in our friends group who just graduated library school. So we're trying to get her to maybe help us with our social media because it's very important, and people, that's, you know, the side you present to the public through your social media, and hopefully we can get that a little bit better established. But I feel like we're doing a good job. It's very time consuming. So anytime you get people to join your friends group or start building it, that media side is very time consuming. We also produce a newsletter, and we started out using S'more, and then we switched over to Constant Contact. And the reason we switched to Constant Contact, and that is something we pay for, is that once we get all of our members loaded into that program, when you create a newsletter, it just instantly emails everything out to them. You can send reminders through that very easily. So I think that was kind of a game changer. We do pay for that yearly. It's not super expensive, but it was very helpful for the friends group to be able to keep up with our members and let them know that we're not just sitting back and not being involved, that we are involved. And I'm going to see if this still comes up. Oh, there it is. So this is just an example of a newsletter that we email out to our friends membership group.
Megan, I don't see it. I still just see your slide.
Oh, when I just clicked on it, you couldn't see it. Could you see the other things I sent out? When I clicked on the web pages, could you see it?
No, I didn't.
You couldn't see the links?
I saw the links in the slide, but I never saw anything pop up.
I wonder if that's something else I have to be able to share. I don't know how to do it. I don't want to close out the other thing.
What we can do is I can actually put these in the chat possibly.
Okay.
Or I can share them later after the presentation. And also your MOU would be nice to share if you want to email it to me.
Okay. Yeah, I can send anything on here y'all can have access to. And then you can get onto the links and see. But it just, what I showed on that Constant Contact was just an example of the newsletter we try to send out after every monthly meeting. So every time we meet, then our person that's over media, she takes all the information and she sends out a newsletter to our membership. Oh, one more thing about that media, and then we've kind of learned this. People are just hateful. We sent out a Facebook post on our book sale, and the person that made our post, our media person, she had the dates. She had one of the dates was right, and then the second date, it's like she hit the same thing again. And the hateful comments people put on there, people not even members of our friends group, that would say, maybe you need a lesson in some blah, blah, blah. Just rude. And so I've had to talk to her and say, once you put something out public, you open yourself up for people to be like that. And it's unfortunate that happens, especially when you're talking about a volunteer group. None of us are paid to do this work. I don't know. That's just my little soapbox. That was disheartening. But anyway, so something else we decided, once again with our brand, is that we created t-shirts, and we used a company called Bonfire. Now, Bonfire, the t-shirts through Bonfire are not cheap, but what Bonfire does is they give you a portion of your sales. So for example, can you see this slide created in Bonfire? it says the price is $26.99 for that t-shirt. The friends group will be given $7 from that. So it was kind of a way to fundraise, as well as having shirts available for the community or for us. Like, all of our friends board always buys the shirts, and we wear them at different events. This was an example of one of our Halloween shirts, but we have the shirt I have on today. We have different styles. We try to create a shirt for different activities that might be going on. And we've probably made, $400 or $500 just off of t-shirt sales. Maybe not that much, but that's another thing to think about. So just this little company that I guess they help with fundraising. Or
so Megan, I put the link to that one in the chat, but it just takes me to their sign-in page. But
to the bonfire page.
Yeah.
Well, and on
anyone to remember later.
If you go to the Friends of Sims Facebook page, the link to the bonfire should be on there. It should actually go to, it'll go to our t-shirts that we've designed, but anybody can create an account through Bonfire and promote the t-shirts they design. You get quite a bit of leeway on your designing. So that one, it's hard to see, but in the little book that the ghost is holding has our logo in the middle of that. So they're kind of cute. And it was a way we were making a little side hustle money, I guess, for the group. All right. So step 3, revitalize. If you build it, they will come. So that first year that we started, really, we had officer elections in December or November of 2021. So starting in 2022, we started trying to come up with different campaigns to promote Friends and promote the library. Well, coming from the school background, this is the stuff I would do in my school library, the blind date with a book. So Sims Library said, do what you want to do. You can have this table area. You can come up with whatever you want to. So we wrapped all these books and kind of promoted the blind date with a book. And then we decided we wanted to do something big for February, Love Your Library Month. So we actually hosted the programming during that month. And we had this craft with kids. We did, I reached out to my friends at the high school, the band director. We did a jazz combo at night that people came to just to listen to some jazz. We had snacks. HEB donated all the food. And this is our beautiful Lyceum. This is the upstairs part of that historic library. It has great acoustics. It's a great place for performances. And the crowd is not huge, as you can see. And we decided, as long as we had somebody show up, we considered that a success. So we did that during Love Your Library Month. We have a local family that has a cookie. It's a Great American Cookie they run, and she donated all these cookies to us, and we had a little family cookie decorating event that month. So we kind of jumped in fast. We kind of jumped in to say, here we are, we're friends, we support the library, donate to us so we can help the library.
So Megan, another question is, how many members are in your friends group?
People that come to the friends meetings every month, we probably average 10 to 15. These are our workers. These are our officers, but also the people that work. The people that have paid dues are paid to be a member of Friends through our monthly mail out. I think we have 120, maybe 140. We have some, we established some levels of funding. So we changed it to, we call it bronze, silver, gold. We have a business level, and then we have a platinum level, which a platinum level is $1,000 donation. And we actually had 3 or 4 platinum members. So that helps us quite a bit every year, as you can imagine. So I think, and I'll kind of go into what I think our weak areas are like when I finish with this, some things that I think we can work on. But as far as like financially right now, we took it from, I think when we inherited the bank account, there was maybe $2,000 or $3,000 in it. Right now we have nearly $12,000, and we have spent quite a bit of money. So I would say in our tenure of doing this, we've probably raised $25,000 maybe. So, you know, it's not like, we're not like a library like Plano or Dallas or something. We're not a huge system, but I feel really good about what we've done and what we're able to do for the public library. So we started a book club, just as we call it, the Friends of Sims Library Book Club, and we meet every month. And this has been interesting because we probably have 15 members that are pretty regular to this. And, you know, it's something I look forward to every month that we've established. And these are just people that love to read, and we meet in the library, and it gets people in the library, and we give some perks like, you know, book sale things, or give them like a little, I can't remember what we did that they had first access to, but just things like that. Just getting people into the library and letting them know, you know, we do programming, we have a book club, we pay for different activities. All right, let's move on. Oh, another idea we came up with was having a summer book swap. And so, you know, these weren't library books. People brought books, and then they could also leave with books. So this was summer of 2022. And it was, you could bring a maximum of 5 books because we didn't want people bringing just boxes and boxes of their old books they couldn't get rid of. And we had popsicles and bottles of water. That was what Friends contribution. But we had quite a bit of people. So this was one of our first kind of big events. We did on the lawn of the library. And, you know, once again, just to kind of get people to the library. We always have a little area where people can sign up for a library card. People can join friends, different promotional areas when we have a group come in like this. One of our fundraisers every year is the book sale, which I'm sure is pretty common in most public libraries. So we get 2 days out of the year at this point, though we're actually going to have a December date as well. And we coordinate this with the Bob Phillips Festival in Waxahachie, which brings thousands of people to the community. So we do our book sale the Friday and Saturday of that weekend. And this year we didn't do quite as well. We usually leave that event making $1,200, $1,300, and we sell everything for $1 or 50 cents. So I think it was kind of, the weather was weird this year, and the festival didn't bring as many people in. And then you can see that little flyer in the middle. In December, what wasn't sold at the book sale, the library was ready to get rid of all these old books in this room. They needed to clear it out so they could add more books in there, things that they were withdrawing from the collection. So we actually did a free giveaway last year right before Christmas. It was free books, and we called it Presents from the Library. And then what we did is, if somebody wanted to take some of the books and give them as gifts to family members or whatever, we would wrap them and we would take a donation for that. So we made a little money on the side from that. We had our wrapping paper there. We had Friends volunteers scheduled all day, and then people would come in and take what they wanted. They didn't have to pay for any of the books, but if they wanted them wrapped, they would give us a little donation. So this is kind of like a gift to the community. And the library was grateful because they wanted to get the books out of that room so they could restock with more books.
Megan, we had
Yes.
another question. What does the business level of membership entail? What does that mean?
That's where I'm going to tell you that is our weak area. So the business level right now is $250. And then the way we had it originally set up is that they would receive advertising somehow. That has never come to fruition. We really maybe only have one business membership, and they've just been doing it for years and years and years. So I don't think they ever expect their name on anything. That is an area I'm not a great, I can't think right now. My brain's dead, but I'm not good at soliciting funding from a business. Like, it's just not in my wheelhouse. It's just not something I'm good at. I do have a member of our friends group that says she is good at it. She's got another nonprofit that she's working with right now. So she hasn't been as helpful as I think she will be, but I just don't know how to approach businesses as the friends group to get that kind of funding. One of the members on our board, on the Sims Library board, does work for a mortgage company. So I just go to him and say, hey, we need tote bags. So what we do at our book sale is we'll sell you a tote for $10, all you can cram in. So that we get quite a bit of money just through the totes and then filling them up. But I mean, he's a business guy and he's generous with us. I don't know. We're just not good at that. That's an area this next year that we really need to focus on, is how do we reach out to businesses? What can we as friends offer to that business so that they're going to want to contribute that $250 business level? Maybe somebody here today can help me with that.
Thanks, Megan. We had one suggestion to put their name on posters, newsletters, totes, everything.
That's a great idea. And we're we have an upcoming event that we've talked about creating a t-shirt for, and then same thing, putting their name on the back of it, their business logo, like maybe having them help donate some funding and then do that. We started out real strong with, well, anybody that becomes a $100 member, we're going to put their name in 5 books in the library and blah, blah, blah. It's so much work. I mean, it becomes a lot of work. Yes, we're all volunteer retired people, but I mean, we're still very busy. So yeah, we're evolving. So one of the purchases we did make to support the library was this big inflatable outdoor screen. And we did host a movie night on the lawn. This was last year. So we had a pretty big crowd for that. We got nervous because the time hadn't changed yet. And we were hoping it was going to be dark enough for the movie to actually look decent on that screen. So the one in the top right corner we had just started the movie, and I was panicking over that. But as you can see, it got darker and it looked really good. The public library has a popcorn machine. So we popped lots of popcorn for the people that came. And once again, we did the bottled water, but it was real cute because families were hosting little birthday parties out there. We had a group that brought pizza and food for all these kids, and they used it as a cheap birthday party, basically. We had people coming from other cities to see the movie. And we also, the movie we showed was Bad Guys, and we did have a business that donated a set of those books, and we did a little raffle, just a free raffle that we handed all the kids a little tag and they turned it in, and that somebody won the set of books. So we did have a partnership with a business on that evening in particular, but it was fun. It was a fun evening. We have this little actor in our community that decided he wanted to do a little love song poetry night. So he just volunteered his time. Friends bought the cookies and the drinks, and we did actually collect some membership that night. But he was just a local guy that wanted to have a platform basically to show off his talent, and that we hosted him. So that was in February 2023. We got this idea, I'm on a Facebook page for public library ideas, and we did a Valentine's Day puzzle swap. So we hosted it in the library, bring a puzzle, take a puzzle. That was very successful. People that love puzzles love puzzles. So that turned out really well. We will actually be doing that one again. And these are just other events that we have been involved in. This is our group. And the bottom left picture, the bookmobile. So our public library received a bookmobile that was funded through the city. And that was launched in the winter in 2023. And so we do a little partnership with the bookmobile. One Friday a month, we have a facility that intellectually challenged adults live in. It's called Daymark Living Center. And the bookmobile goes there one Friday a month, and Friends also goes, and we help with the craft with the adults, and then the bookmobile, the librarians check out books to the residents there. So that's something we do that is really fun. In this, I'm not going to show you the link just because I don't know if it's going to go, but I think I mentioned this earlier. We established a Google form that we sent out to all the staff members at the library. They all have access to this form. And when they are in need of some kind of funding, they fill out the form. At our meeting at our monthly meeting, we say, were there any requests for funding? And then we look at in the Google Drive and go through the form, and then we decide. There's things they have to fill out: their name, amount of money, what they're using it for, timeline, that kind of thing. That just gives us a paper trail so we know what we've given to the library staff for different things that they have requested. And I don't have a current picture, but our children's librarian requested one of those cute wooden kitchens. They're about $900 for that set, and we did just purchase that for her, and she has it in the library, and she always sends pictures out, and we get to see the kids utilizing it. We hosted a treat for the staff. We haven't done as much of this lately, but when we first started, we were really trying to build a connection with Friends and with the library staff. So we hosted a little breakfast for them. We would do treats during National Library Week, things like that. And then recently we've hosted some author visits. So all of these are local authors that we have just gotten to know. So Theo wrote a book about grief. She lost both of her parents tragically. And she was a teacher friend of mine from our school district who's now written this book. And she actually did not only a talk about her book, but she hosted kind of like a grief. We talked a lot about grief. So Friends provided lots of brochures and different pamphlets and things about grief for people that attended that. And then we had an author that spoke about baseball, and then David Smith is our local cowboy poet. So we had pretty good attendance on all of these author visits, and we host them up in that beautiful historic Lyceum. And Jim Chapman, on his baseball photography of the dead ball era, he actually donated portions of his sales to the Friends group for hosting that night. So we got a little bit of donation from him. And this is what we're planning for coming up. So we already have a Battle of the Bands scheduled for February in 2024. We have a breakout group that's working on organizing that. The baby book giveaway. Friends of Sims Library bought 100 of these board books called Library Babies. And one of our Friends members made 100 burp cloths. And then our children's librarian at the libraries come up with a pamphlet on reading to your baby, resources that the public library has for young moms and babies. So all of that is going in a little cellophane bag, and we're taking them to Hope Clinic, which is our local low-income health clinic. We're looking at hosting a murder mystery night fall of 2024. That'll be a lot of planning, but we've been talking about it for a long time. So hopefully we can do that as like a fundraiser for our group that will eventually benefit the library. And we're hosting a puzzle contest in January, which we bought 6 of the same puzzle. We're opening up to families. They have an hour and a half to complete the puzzle. And then we have movie passes as their prize, and they get to take the puzzle with them. So our future is to try to keep growing, working on our volunteers, getting our membership levels up, and really focusing on that business level. All right, I'm going to close this out so that I'm back. Let's see, stop sharing. Nope, I didn't do it.
Okay, so we are open for questions for Megan. You can either type them in the chat or unmute. And I can ask the ones from the chat box if you want me to.
Oh, here, this is something else. This is we made these little stickers. We had these printed. And the first year as we got membership, I wrote thank you notes to everybody that became a Friends member. That was very time consuming, but I thought it was important that first year to recognize that we were back and going to be busy. So we gave everybody one of these decals that just sticks on your car. And then we created these cute little, look like little business cards. So on the front is Nicholas P. Sims Library with a QR code. And on the back is Friends information with a QR code. So we just have these out at different events that we host.
And Megan, were those produced locally, those 2 products you just showed us?
The stickers were produced locally, and I did these little cards. I just did it through Canva. And I did want to say the baby books that we bought, we do have a new local bookstore in an old house. It's called Paper Leaves. If anybody's ever in the community, a great bookstore that opened a couple of years ago. We purchased everything locally. We purchased all the 100 baby books from Paper Leaves, and it was a little more expensive, but we wanted to give back local.
I'd like to say something. First of all, I used to live in Waxahachie, so I know the library well. I love that building; it's just great. But I hadn't seen the addition, so that's great. I'm in a very similar situation right now. I came into a friends group that was pretty active, and then, as you said, deaths, retirements, people moving away because they're retired, so they're going off to their cabin at the lake or whatever, and they weren't building up. So now we're down to basically 3 or 4 people who are killing themselves doing 2 book sales a year. And that's really all we do is these 2 book sales. And I have talked to them and I said, well, what committees do you have? Oh, we don't have committees. They never work. Well, they never work if you don't do them. So I am trying to find a way to basically just say, okay, stop, everybody. Because they've actually told me, we think we're just going to, close it down and not worry about it. And I said, that's silly. We don't need to do that. And I said, first of all, I just read an article that, the biggest users of the library now are the millennials. Mm-hmm. Well, that's who we need to be grabbing and getting. But I'm just at a loss. I only came to this community 5 years ago, so I don't have, the connections that a lot of people, or I might if I'd been here for a while. But I just don't know how to go out there and grab these people. I mean, we've got a good sized story time going, and I know those are probably some people I can certainly hook onto, but I'm just not sure past that. I don't know, any suggestions would be fine. I like your ideas though. All of these different fundraising ideas or just activities. That's what I want to see happen. Oh, and here's another thing. They only meet once a year.
Oh.
Officially.
Wow.
I don't know what the board does when they get to, the officers, I guess, talk to each other on the phone, but they don't have formal meetings except that once a year. And I've told them, I said, you need to have it a lot more often than that.
Right.
But anyway, any suggestions anybody has, and I know every community is different. So sometimes you've got to hook them in different ways.
Well, millennials are hard. We have a couple of members that started out, they were young moms, and like with the book sale, they love to help in the evening because the kids were, the dad was dealing with the kids and it was kind of a break for them. And in our book club, we have some millennials as well. I think they love the library. I think it's hard for them to carve out that time. Maybe, we're real excited about this Battle of the Bands, that maybe we're going to bring in some younger people that are interested. And then maybe once you get them in the door, they're like, oh yeah, maybe I want to help out. And I don't know that they're going to be consistent helpers. It seems like my most consistent helpers are my retired teacher friends that are still kind of hyper and still want to do stuff. They still have energy and they show up at everything. But yeah, it's a challenge, definitely.
Yeah.
And even our membership, like our friends' membership, it seems like it's still all, my age and older that are paying the money to be in the membership. For the younger people, I don't know. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Our membership is interesting. We get most of them in the spring book sale. Because they do a Friday afternoon where Friday afternoon is the first time for the sale. It's a 3-day sale. And if you come, you can only come that afternoon if you're a member of the friends group. So we have a lot of people come, pay their $5, go in and have first dibs on the books, and then they leave. And that's it. That's the extent of their participation in the friends group. And so that's another thing, I see a lot of disconnects out there. They're just saying, sign your name and number, give us $5.
Right.
They're not saying, would you be interested in helping with this and this? And I think, first of all, I should just establish a membership committee that can go out there and just beat the bushes. And so maybe if I start that, then we can start, pulling some other things together. But the membership here is interesting. It's just like no commitment,
Cynthia,
just that.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Cynthia, which library do you represent?
Unger Memorial Library in Plainview.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, very rural. The city is about 20,000. It used to be about 25, but economy and everything.
Wonderful.
But we also get supported by the county a small extent. So basically anybody in Hale County can get a card from us or use our library.
Okay.
But we're still getting to the point of getting a proxy server. I mean, so I can, get people to access it from outside the library. So, I'm still working on just bringing the library up to, 2023, much less the friends group. But, and I was going to retire at the end of this year. I've already decided it's going to be at least another year, maybe 2. And because there are so many things I want to accomplish before I leave here. One of them is really getting the friends group going again. I mean, I don't want to be doing it, but I want to help spearhead and kind of keep prodding to make sure it gets done.
So before we wrap up here, I wanted to make sure that if anyone else has any questions for Megan or for anyone else in the group, I know we have a wide variety of sizes of libraries represented. I don't know where all of you are representing from, but definitely share any questions. Okay, I do have one comment from Barb. I'm the library's liaison for our friends group. Something happened before I started at the library and the friends disbanded. We are building back, but those who are still active are ready to pass the torch to a younger group. And that sounds like kind of what Megan had said when she first started, but hers was even more dire. It sounded like
they were gone. Well, and one of our my public library friend, I was hoping he was going to jump on today. He was actually the president And when you look at the bylaws, he really was never supposed to be. And he's our secretary now. He can hold a role that's not president, but it was like this weird conflict of interest going on. And so he didn't want to be the president. He just didn't want it to die. So he kind of stepped in, but for like years. And I don't know. I've lived in the community a really long time, since I was a kid. So I know a lot of people in town. And I just started reaching out I started with my friends. You need to have your support group too. So I had my friends that joined in. And then from there, we've kind of just reached out to other people that are looking for things to do, that love the library. So Cynthia, I don't know if if there's somebody in the community that you have a good relationship with, that you can say, hey, I need somebody to, light a fire here. And, can you start?
The former district librarian, she might. She was actually a liaison with us to the historical commission, county historical commission, for a while, but she resigned. I'm not sure exactly why, so I don't know if she's left town or what. But she might be somebody who, if she's looking for little something to do, could come in and work on it. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll check around, or I'll check with the chamber. They might have some ideas to help us get it going again.
Oh, I'm looking at the business from Barb. Businesses gave us generous annual donations. That's great. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing a lot just during this whole presentation from Megan, and even from some of your other comments, is that you're really needing to look for the people in your community who are the connectors, people who know a lot of people, the people who have that ability to draw in others. And that's sometimes hard for us from the library perspective, because some of us are more introverted, inwardly focused, and we need to really say, this would be most successful if I found that connector, that person who knows a lot of people.
Well, and several of our public librarians, the public library staff in Waxahachie is pretty young, and they are all members of, one's president of Kiwanis, one's in Lions Club, one's in Rotary, and they are pretty good at kind of utilizing those connections they're making through those service organizations to help out as well. And I mean, that's another good launching point, I think, if you have those organizations in your community and can reach out to them. But yeah, I mean, we Friends is able to donate $3,000 every summer to our summer reading program. We just bought the $900 kitchen set. We're really trying to support as best we can. Can we afford to add a wing onto the library? No, but we can help in other ways. And, as our community grows, I really am hopeful that we'll grow as well and keep on with the momentum that we have. And it is tiring. Looking at it from the Friends side and not the public library side, Cynthia, like you said, those people that host, the two people that are doing all the work, it's a lot. And I know I feel frustrated sometimes because I'll get worn down, but then, I just have to vocalize, all right, I need your help. And we lost our vice president a year ago. She was actually worked at a title company. So she had a lot of business connections, and she just kind of out of the blue said, oh, I'm not doing it anymore. So without her, we lost sort of the business contact side, but we just replaced her. I swear the school librarians are taking over the Friends group, but we replaced her. We just elected another school librarian to help. But I feel like for me, for the next 2 years, like my officer team is pretty strong, and we have a lot of communication with each other. So I'm really hopeful that we can continue the momentum that we've built.
I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I know that we're all busy, and I wanted to thank Megan so much for the information today. And if I can get a copy of the MOU or any of the other links, I will try to send them out to the group that's here. And otherwise, I want to just thank you all for attending. I am the special projects coordinator for Plan, and I took over for Sarah today. Usually Sarah is in charge of these, but I needed to step in for her. And I work with a lot of the small and rural libraries. So if any of you know of small and rural libraries looking for assistance with major projects where they need people on the ground, not money, but people on the ground to help, please take a look at our website. We have an application for this grant, the Library Rescue Grant, and that's the one that I'm in charge of. And also all of our other future virtual programs are listed there so that you can register for any future ones. We have some good ones coming up. And I want to thank you for attending today. And I am also posted the post-survey link, and we would love for you to fill that out. That really helps us with our grant, and look for it in the chat. I'm going to stop the recording and want to thank you all for being here with us.
Thank you.